There are some things going on here in the United States today, and even though we're kayak fishermen, we don't need to stick our head in the sand concerning some of these things. I'm a firm believer that what's going on politically today, you need to have a backup plan. You need to have a plan based on who wins the presidential election, several different options concerning what's going on in Congress, what's going on worldwide. Britain voted to get out of the European Union. So I strongly suggest if you don't have some plans on what to do, make some plans. I mean, you may need them. Don't just stick your head in the sand and continue fishing and say things will get better. You may, hopefully you're right, but if I were you, I would be making some type of plan depending on who wins the election, what's going on in the earth today. Make plans to keep the Second Amendment strong in your life. Make sure that you do things to exercise your Second Amendment rights, whatever state you're in. But you never know when things could go south, when stuff could hit the fan. And if you don't have a backup plan, if you don't have a way to get your family together, you don't have a way to unite your family, if it happens, it's too late. Just give yourself a self-test. What would happen if all of a sudden there was no internet, there were no YouTube videos, you couldn't buy groceries at the grocery store, you couldn't get purified water at the grocery store, your house didn't have purified water? I mean, are you prepared for that? If not, you should be. Have you got a way to escape where you live if you need to? Have you got a way to get out by water? Have you got a way to get out by land? Because you can forget about getting out of your neighborhood in a massive crisis in an automobile. Have you got a bug out location? Have you got a bug out bag packed? Are you ready to go? I mean, it's not gonna just knock on your door and say in 3 or 4 days you may need this. No, I would say go ahead and get it done now. And take advantage of the teachings you can get through videos while they're available, because you never know when they may not be. So don't take things like that for granted. I'm not a doomsdayer. I believe the best is yet to come, but you gotta believe for the best and plan for the worst. If you just have one plan, then you have no plan. If you just have one way of escape, you have no way of escape. One is none, two is one when it comes to being prepared. In situations where there's no life's conveniences available, do you have things that you can barter with? Do you have things that would be able to keep your family safe, keep your family fed and supplied? Money would not be what you would need. What if the banking systems were down? You need bartering items, things like alcohol. I'm talking about rubbing alcohol. Sanitation type products, certain kinds of food. There's a lot of different bartering items you need to keep in your cabinet, keep in your pantry. Clothing, first aid items. Because you have to understand that your neighbor who's a friendly guy right now, if he knows what you've got, if he's gone without food for 5 or 6 days, 7 days, 8 days, 10 days, he may turn into somebody that's not your friend anymore. He may take what you got, or try to take what you've got by any force he needs to take it with. So you need to keep that in mind and not just assume that the best will always happen. You got to be prepared for it. Have a way to get your family to a location where they can group together whether it be by water or by land. Good idea would be to download a lot of county maps to some old electronic device you have and hadn't been using. Download them physically to it so you can move about from one place to another. It's a good idea to have a backup location. Good idea to have a bug out location. Have it where you can get to it with a little effort without having to go through some major city and take 3 or 4 days just to get through a major city if things go bad. Hopefully that'll never happen in the generation we live, but according to the scriptures, it's going to happen to some generation. Some of our sons and daughters, some of our kin people are going to have to deal with it. Have you explained to your children, have you explained to them the necessity of being ready? Have you taught them how to survive? Have you taught them how to fish? Have you taught them how to hunt? Have you taught them how to make a fire without a match? Have you taught them how to build shelter without the conveniences of a tarp you bought from Home Depot? These type of things. Something that you need to think through, plan it out. Have a backup plan. Discuss it with your family. Discuss it with your wife. Discuss it with your not so immediate family. But one thing you don't want to do is to go out and tell everybody what you got. If you've got weapons, they don't need to know about it. If you've got food, they don't need to know about it. If you've got supplies, they don't need to know about it. Your neighbor doesn't need to know about it. They don't need, the trash man shouldn't be able to look in your trash and tell you that you just bought a brand new firearm or some piece of survival equipment. I'm just saying this to get you thinking. Hopefully you'll never need it, but always make plans to use it, exercise it. Have your location picked out. Have all of your equipment in one area where you don't have to go through your house looking and trying to find something. Have it where you can be gone within just a few minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. Have food, have water, have ways to provide for yourself. So I just thought I'd share that with you, but something you can think about when the fish aren't biting while you're out in your kayak fishing, looking for those big bass, looking for those big bluegill, looking for whatever kind of fish you're fishing for, but it's just something you don't want to neglect. Not for you or your family. So, thanks for listening, YouTube.